All right, let's dive into something truly fascinating today. We're going to explore a map of the human body that's been used to heal people for over 2,000 years. But here's the kicker. No surgeon has ever been able to find it.
So think about this for a second. What if an entire system of medicine, one that has lasted for millennia, was built on a super detailed map of our bodies, but a map that no modern anatomist, no surgeon with a scalpel has ever laid eyes on? That is the exact mystery we are getting into today. At the very center of this puzzle is a system called Jingluo. For traditional Chinese medicine, it's not just important, it is the absolute bedrock of health and healing. But for modern anatomy, well, it's pretty much remained a ghost in the machine.
For 2 millennia, practitioners have been using this map to treat all kinds of conditions. And yet, for the last 100 years or so, modern science has been looking for these physical meridian tubes and has come up completely empty-handed. This isn't just a small disagreement. We're talking about a fundamental clash of worldviews. So, what on earth did the ancients see that we're missing?
Okay, so the first clue to cracking this mystery, it's not about finding some new hidden organ. Nope. It's about putting on a completely different pair of glasses for viewing the body itself.
And this right here, this is the key. The source material calls it the holistic view, or Zhengti Guan. So instead of seeing the body like a car engine, a collection of separate parts, like a heart, a liver, a nervous system, this view sees the body as one single interconnected whole. And Jingluo isn't just a part of that network. It is the network.
This slide just lays it out so perfectly. Modern anatomy often sees the body as a machine made of all these separate systems, but the holistic view sees it more like an ecosystem, a network that's defined by flow and by relationships. The question totally shifts from what is this one piece to how does everything connect? So the crucial point is this. We're not hunting for a physical object. The source explains that Jingluo is basically a description of relationships. It's a map of how different parts of the body talk to each other and work together. It's a map of the body's internal logic.
So if Jingluo is a map of relationships, then what exactly is it charting? Well, that brings us right to our next clue. I want you to think of a city's entire infrastructure for a second. You've got roads, power lines, communication cables, the whole shebang. Well, the Xingwei-Lu system is essentially the master blueprint for all of that, but inside the human body. It's the map of the body's entire traffic system for both energy, what they call qi, and information.
And what's wild is just how complex this system is. It's not just one set of lines. You've got the Jingmai, which are like the main interstate highways. Then you have the Lomai, those are all the regional roads connecting everything. The Jingjing are like the structural supports, the girders holding everything in place. The Pibu are the sensors right on the surface. And the Qijingbamai act as these deep energy reservoirs, almost like strategic backups for the entire grid. It's just an incredibly complete model. Okay, so we've got this amazing, invisible map of the body's traffic system. Why does it matter? Well, because according to this ancient model, understanding that flow is the absolute key to understanding both health and disease. This right here is a foundational principle from the source material, Jingluo Butong, Bai Bing Sheng. And it basically translates to, if the Jingluo is not flowing freely, 100 diseases will arise. So in this view, illness isn't some outside invader, it's just a traffic jam in the body's own system. And the progression they describe is just so logical. First, something, stress, bad diet, whatever, disrupts the system's balance. This causes stagnation, a traffic jam. And that jam is what eventually shows up as physical symptoms, like pain or fatigue. So the goal of treatments like acupuncture isn't to just attack the symptom, but to get the traffic moving again and bring back that natural flow. Now, for centuries, this was all a philosophical model. But now something really fascinating is happening. Modern science, while actually looking for other things, is starting to find evidence that aligns perfectly with the function of this ancient map.
Get this, the ancient concept of the Lumai network, those regional roads we talked about, it maps incredibly well onto our modern understanding of fascia, which is that web of connective tissue surrounding every single muscle and organ. The whole concept of qi flow is being paralleled by research into the body's bioelectrical signals. And the idea of the network's overall integrity, it's totally mirrored in huge discoveries like the gut-brain axis, which proves deep connections between systems we thought were separate. Science is mapping the exact same territory, just using a different language.
And all of this brings us to the final and maybe the most profound piece of the whole puzzle.
It's a beautiful metaphor from the source material that just elegantly solves our initial mystery.
And here is the core idea. The source argues that trying to find a single physical meridian is exactly like a cat chasing its own shadow on the wall. The fascia, the nerve pathways, the bioelectrical signals, these things are the shadows. They're real, they're observable, you can measure them, but they aren't the thing that's casting the shadow.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the final takeaway. A cat can chase its shadow forever, but it's never going to catch it. The real goal is to understand the light, that holistic, energetic system of relationships that casts all these different shadows. The Jingluo isn't the shadow, it's the light.
And that leaves us with a really powerful final thought. Maybe the goal isn't for modern science to prove this ancient map exists by dissecting one of its many shadows. Perhaps the real value is in trying to understand the profound, holistic perspective it offers us, a 2,000-year-old way of seeing the body not as a machine, but as a living, breathing, interconnected whole.